Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today because, well, we've got a seriously high-stakes investigation to unpack. We are diving headfirst into a space where literally millions of dollars, countless hours of brilliant engineering, and massive community expectations are constantly on the line. I'm talking about the Web3 and crypto ecosystem. But specifically, we're looking at how these projects communicate, beyond the press release, why Web3 PR succeeds or fails. Have you ever wondered why some blockchain projects just skyrocket into the public consciousness, while others, maybe even ones with better, faster tech, just kind of quietly fade into the background? Well, the answer isn't always hidden in the code. It's actually often found in the communication. So let's just jump right into the evidence, shall we?
Okay, hit the brakes for a second. 50. Over the past few years, crypto PR has become, without a doubt, one of the absolute most popular marketing tools in all of Web3. But to figure out what actually works and what totally flops, a really hard analytical look was taken at exactly 50 crypto PR campaigns. And hey, these weren't just some random tweets from a guy in his basement, right? These were serious, highly orchestrated campaigns spanning major token launches, multi-million-dollar funding announcements, high-profile exchange listings, you name it. 50 distinct, heavily funded attempts to capture the market's attention.
But here is the wild part. Out of those 50 highly anticipated campaigns, exactly half, 50%, failed entirely to produce any meaningful results. Just let that reality sink in for a second. Half of these massive efforts generated almost nothing. We're talking no sustained search visibility, no real media coverage, no tangible community growth, and absolutely zero heightened investor awareness. It was just a void. For 25 of these projects, they honestly might as well have said nothing at all. Which brings us to the first major phase of our investigation. Section 1, the visibility illusion, or why good products go unnoticed. Now, what's really interesting here is you might logically think, oh, those 25 failed campaigns probably just had bad tech. But the data totally proves that false. These projects didn't fail because the tech or the products were weak. No, they failed because the teams behind them made the exact same fatal visibility mistakes over and over again. And if you're running a Web3 project right now, these invisible mistakes could literally be costing you your growth. This captures a classic marketing myth, not just in Web3, but really across the whole tech world. The expectation is that simply publishing a press release automatically creates visibility. It's that old publish and pray method, right? You hit send and boom, you expect the entire world to just flock to your platform. But the reality, distribution alone does not create authority, and visibility without strategy rarely, if ever, compounds. The data from these campaigns proves definitively that PR only actually works when it's integrated as part of a much larger, deliberate credibility system.
So, what exactly went wrong for those 25 projects? Let's treat this like a crime scene. Here are the 3 fatal PR mistakes, an autopsy of the failed campaigns.
Mistake number 1, no story. Paint a picture in your head for a second. A brilliant engineering team grinds for a year. They finally finish their massive protocol update. They draft this highly technical, completely dry announcement. They hit publish. And then, crickets. Complete and utter silence. Why does this happen? Well, many projects simply publish announcements. But here is the golden rule of human psychology. Announcements are instantly forgotten. Narratives, on the other hand, are remembered. Journalists, crypto communities, investors, they don't want dry announcements. They absolutely crave compelling stories. Simply put, if you don't have a story, you don't have an audience. Moving right along, that brings us to mistake number 2, one-off PR. This is when a team publishes a single, solitary press release. Maybe they do a tiny little victory lap on social media, and then they disappear entirely back into building mode. Dropping one piece of news and vanishing is, frankly, an absolute waste of time and resources. The source data shows us loud and clear that visibility only compounds through repetition. If you want to build actual authority in a super crowded, noisy market like Web3, you absolutely need consistency. You cannot just be a one-hit wonder and expect long-term market dominance. And finally, we reach mistake number 3, weak distribution. This is when a campaign completely ignores audience targeting and search visibility. Some of these projects, they put 100% of their effort into the actual act of publishing and 0% into where it's publishing or who is actually seeing it. They ignore ecosystem relevance, media quality, and what people are literally searching for online right now. Focusing only on the act of publishing just leads to a really brief spike of temporary exposure with absolutely zero lasting impact. It's a flash in the pan, it does absolutely nothing for your long-term roadmap.
Okay, let's pivot to the bright side and dive into this. The winning playbook. Traits of the surviving 25 campaigns.
So, the surviving campaigns shared 4 really distinct patterns. First up, a strong narrative. Successful projects positioned their specific announcements inside a much larger, way more compelling story. Second, consistent visibility. They didn't just post once, they showed up repeatedly across multiple channels over time. Third, ecosystem positioning. Instead of just shouting into the void, they joined existing conversations and proved their relevance to the broader Web3 space. And fourth, search presence. They actively built long-term discoverability so that people could actually find them months after the news initially broke. The big takeaway here? Successful projects do not blindly chase attention. They strategically build long-term recognition. And all of that strategy builds into something even bigger. Let's look at the true ROI, building the trust pipeline. This is where the stakes get truly massive for any founder or marketing team out there. Because the biggest lesson from this data autopsy wasn't actually about website traffic or click-through rates or momentary hype. It was all about trust. Think about this psychological funnel because it maps perfectly to how human beings actually operate and make decisions in the real world. Step 1, visibility. You have to be seen, right? But that visibility creates step 2, familiarity. The strongest campaigns ensured their brand was seen repeatedly until they were widely recognized. Then, that familiarity transforms into step 3, trust. People inherently trust brands that they repeatedly encounter in high-quality contexts. And finally, trust drives step 4, adoption. This is the entire pipeline right here. You cannot skip straight to adoption without building the visibility, familiarity, and trust first. Repeated exposure is the exact thing that creates the credibility needed to actually win over users and investors across multiple market cycles. I want to leave you with this absolutely phenomenal quote that perfectly summarizes everything we've uncovered in today's explainer. The projects that win long-term aren't always the loudest. They're the most consistently visible. I love that. Because PR isn't just about getting published. It's about being present consistently with a story that actually matters to the ecosystem. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative question to ask yourself today. Look at your own project right now. Is your PR strategy just making noise, or is it building a compounding system of trust? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Take that question back to your team and keep building.
Subscribe and visit Web3 Newswire for visibility and credibility of your Web3 projects.